Hello everybody, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new album by fucking Starset, one of my favourite bands of all time. I'm so happy I actually get to talk about an album, because as a band that's constantly been releasing albums after albums relatively quickly, this is the longest wait. It's been almost 4 years now since Horizons. If in October it will be 4 years since Horizons came out. That's insane, because I remember when it came out and it didn't even feel that long ago. But we are here with a brand new record, really weird release cycle. This one, Silos, the fifth album, has 6 interludes and 10 tracks. It's the shortest album in terms of the actual songs, because normally Starset's does around 12 to 14, and then they did 15 because of Fearless wanting Infected onto the Horizons record. So now they're back with Fearless. I think they've got a 2-album contract, so this might have been the first one. But the plan for this Silos album wasn't actually meant to be an album. Well, it was meant to be an album with the first few singles, but by the time there's more singles started popping out, it was supposed to be kind of a standalone EP. It doesn't necessarily tie into the lore of the story, but it still presents itself in a way that kind of feels a bit familiar to similar ideas. It just kind of feels like a standalone segment or story that doesn't quite attach to what we had. But with it being an album, I think they tried connecting more dots to make it flow that way. But yeah, it is such a weird release cycle. We've had almost every song released and only 2 new singles, or only 2 new tracks rather, of the record, and 6 interludes that we haven't actually heard yet. So I'll go through this track by track. The interludes I'm not too worried about. I'll still mention them, but I want to mainly go into the material of this and see how Silos holds up as the band's 5th album. So Presence, standard intro, nothing crazy. I feel like if I were to rank it out of the intros, I'd think it'd beat The Order, but then it doesn't beat anything else. Unveiling the Architecture has a darker sound that really sets up Horizons as well. First Light is just such an amazing introduction to Starset's sound, and A Brief History of the Future is just my favourite. It just feels like you're really getting invested into an audio story, just an audio film. It is just awesome. First track, or first proper song, we have Degenerate. Now, this one, honestly, I do really like this a lot. It was a track of the week pick for me. I didn't really hesitate with that either, because while this one might not be as appreciated as a lot of the other songs on this record, I just love how clunky, dark, gritty, edgy this song feels, and the warning about AI being bad and kind of being this, like, the downfall of mankind it will all become, and the fact that they use an AI visualizer to warrant that, it is quite surprising in my opinion. Although that did spark a lot of controversy, I will get into the AI stuff later, because this was an ironic use of it. Other tracks, not so much, but Degenerate is just fun. It's got an amazing breakdown. I love the fact that it's not just heavy guitars being as low tuned as possible, because most of the time guitar breakdowns are just like, let's make the guitars tuning as low as possible to make it sound really heavy, and it doesn't always emphasize the heaviness. It just makes it sound really kind of like a forced heavy. But I love the fact that it's a more of electronic breakdown, so you've got Dustin doing some nice uncleans, and then you've got this like really cool distortion sound. Degenerate's chorus is great as well. I think the verses are decent. The low vocals in the kind of pre-chorus stuff is a bit of it's the only thing I think takes away from this track, but I love this one a lot. But then we have Silos. I haven't talked about this one, but this was one of my favourite songs of the album straight away, no doubt. Another track of the week. Silos is insane. It's instantly beats everything about Degenerate in my opinion. It's so heavy. I love the fact it's got this, like, the synths that really feel like you'd hear it from classic Starset. The writing generally feels a lot more improved, and I love how the detail into it. The growling is definitely a lot stronger on this track than a future one I'll talk about, and chorus is gorgeous. This song generally feels to me like it's got the classic Starset everyone knows and loves. It's still new. I can't imagine this being on an earlier track, but I can just imagine Starset evolving to this sound. Silos does not disappoint. I love the fact you get the kind of little transmission before the bridge as well. This one is just insanely good. Nothing wrong with it. Silos just kicks absolute ass. One of my favourite tracks from Starset, hands down. Rise of Messenger, this one is a decent interlude, not one I remember as well. I just think it kind of just is a nice transition from Silos to Dark Things, but I don't think it really is that memorable, to me at least. To be honest, you just gotta think of it kind of like an outro to the song, so it would just be Silo's outro. I think it fits, but at the same time, yeah, it just exists. I'm not really that bothered by it. Dark Things, this song grew on me immensely. I thought it was good when it came out, but probably one of the weaker singles. But going back, listening to this, where coming released before the album came out, and when we had 8 singles, I really love Dark Things. It grew on me to being one of my favourite Starset songs, just like that. And I think it's the fact that it's kind of like an ode to Mannequin, Dustin Bates' side project that he practiced in 2019 to produce this whole little record that's entirely synthwave, to see if he can actually produce an electronic album before he actually applies that to Starset. And that's what he did. Divisions was the first album he actually mainly produced. He got Joe Rickard to help him, as he has with every record onwards, and it just goes to show how insanely talented he is. Mannequin was an amazing electronic project, and I think Dustin has confirmed that it's wrapped up now. I don't think he's ever going to be returning to it, so this kind of is like the last hurrah for it, and you can tell it really feels like it plays into the Mannequin sound, not lyrically, but the sound definitely. The synths definitely have this kind of synthwave feel, but when the guitars kick in, it's insane. It feels like a Starset song turned Mannequin, and I love it. It gives you goosebumps. Amazing, just amazing vocals, to be honest, on this one. The bridge is excellent. It's one of my favourite bridges from Starset. Amazing song. Then we had the Shattered Dreams cover by Johnny H. Jazz, which it's weird that we actually have official Starset album with not one but 2 covers. This being the first of them. Honestly, I love this one a lot. It's generally a really beautiful rendition of a pretty fun 1980s kind of pop, synth pop thing, just Johnny H. Jazz. But Shattered Dreams, the original, is excellent, and I think this is a very nice homage to it. It doesn't really deter from Starset's sound, and if anything, it kind of enhances it. It feels like something Mannequin could do as well, with the 80s retro vibe, but it's still keeping to Starset's sound. Yeah, I don't think the covers are going to be the highlight of the record, but Shattered Dreams is still one that I think is noteworthy of being one to mention. We have Temple of Milton. This one is fun. I love this one. I remember I got to listen to this one. If you pre-save the album, you get a link to this website, and you got to listen to this one entirely. It's good. But Temple of Milton is just kind of a very good transition from this to Brave New World. Speaking of Brave New World, this is the lead single of it. This one came out over a year ago now, almost, pretty much, May 3rd, 2024. That's definitely over a year and a half. But this song is incredible. I know it was a bit mixed for some because Dustin absolutely went heavy on this one, but I love the synths, I love the strings being so dark and cinematic on this. And yeah, it's a very nice kind of another dystopian sort of sound. I kind of wish they go more for space, but I'm not complaining. I think Brave New World is a very, very fun song. It's heavy, the growls are great, but I feel like the growling was better done on Silos, but I still love the aggression. I just love the chorus on this one. Yeah, this track's incredible, and the outro as well was pretty good. So Brave New World, yeah, one of my favourite Starset songs as well as Dark Things and also Silos. So yeah, a lot of really good stuff so far. Dystopia, this one is great, another song I liked. This one to me feels the most like it's got the Vessels energy, just because of the kind of gritty vocal delivery in the chorus. Reminds me of Gravity of You, but not as heavy or menacing. But Dystopia still has a very nice vibe. It feels like probably the most tame track, or the kind of the most standard sounding track of the record. It's not too heavy, but it's not too soft. It kind of plays a perfect balance of what the album needs, and I think it's a nice way to kind of calm down the album from how distinctive everything has been so far. It's a good song. Head Over Heels, yeah, this cover, I'll be honest, it's good, but I generally think it's one of the weakest things we've heard from Starset, and this also was kind of the point where the AI got over the top. So pretty much we had AI for Dark Things music video. I didn't talk about it then. I wasn't really a fan of it, but you know, maybe I thought it was a one-time thing. I'll let it off. Then Shattered Dreams, the last single, again used it. But then Head Over Heels continued it with probably the worst looking music video from Starset. There's points where cars morph from each other. The text kind of doesn't speaks gibberish and then corrects itself. Yeah, the idea of using AI just it generally rubs me the wrong way. But I still love the band, so I'm in it for the music, even if the music videos look pretty awful. Especially since we have some good ones like Brave New World. Brave New World's Silos, Dystopia, they're generally legit music videos. Even Toksik's a fun one, but the AI stuff, there's literally so many things. And then they use AI for pretty much all the visualizers, for the interludes and the final track, so it's a bit disappointing, to be honest. But anyway, let's just talk about the song. Head Over Heels cover, I just think is very fine from Starset. It's kind of like the Love You to Death cover. I'd rather listen to the original. I think the original has a bit more of that charm. Starset's one here, it still sounds good, it's still a good song, but I think if you're going to compare it to the rest of the discography, it'll be one of the weaker tracks for sure. It just isn't really that exciting. I wish they went all out. It just feels very restricted on what it wants to be, and yeah, it is fine. Sway, this one is very weird, the weirdest song I think they've ever released. This is the first new song off the record that it's not a single, so that's nice. I think this one's good, but it's certainly not one of their best written songs. It plays into the weirdness very well. I love the verses, I love the effects and just the kind of weird vibe it gives you, but then the chorus is just a bit underwhelming on this one. The bridge the bridge is kind of interesting as it just goes into an outro, so you kind of get two choruses and then just kind of turns into an outro. Sway is so weird, I cannot describe it. I think I like it enough to say it's a good song, but I think it is again another weak Starset song, and I can tell which half of the record I enjoy more already. Then we had the Antihero's Journey. This one's fine. I don't really remember this one too much, but it goes into TOKSIK, which I quite liked TOKSIK. I'd say I grew off it a bit as Degenerate. I think TOKSIK is generally one of the weaker tracks on the record, just in the fact that it feels a bit more on the mainstream side. This was made as a radio single as well, so I can get that. The rapping is kind of a nice touch, but I don't think it necessarily makes the song fit with this. But then again, it is a collection of singles with some new stuff, so I don't think it matters if it fits. But TOKSIK, I think when it came to all the singles, I always view this as the weakest one. I like aspects to it, the distortion, electronic ideas, but TOKSIK is just kind of the Starset song I don't think I could see Starset doing, and they did. So yeah, good song, but one of the weakest. At His Altar, I like this one. The kind of little bit of dialogue you get in this is quite nice. I just love the kind of darker vibe of it. It's a cool interlude. Ad Astra, the final track, well, not the final track, the final song. This is getting a bit confusing now. This is amazing. I feel like they really kept one of the strongest songs to last, and I feel like Starset always knock out the park with the outro track or the final song, and Ad Astra is no exception here. I wouldn't say it's like Everglow level of incredible, but let me just go through why this one, it just feels so nice and refreshing. This is a proper space track. This one has a lot more of the vocal effects that the kind of classic Transmissions Vessel era had. The chorus generally is very well written. The whole verse and build up to the song is great. This one, yeah, sure, is a bit more radio friendly, but it feels like kind of classic Starset to a T, and that's the kind of Starset I feel like we've missed a bit. I love Dustin and Joe's production, but they barely got to work on anything spacey since Waiting on the Sky to Change, and I really hope we get to return to space soon, because we have pretty much done the kind of dystopian fall of mankind theme 3 times now, and it's cool to see that they're going heavy with this record, but I kind of wish we had a bit more of the space. And Requiem of the Order, it's a nice outro, kind of wraps everything up, kind of feels like the intro with the synths and the energy. It's good. So yeah, sorry I talked a while about this one. I wanted to go into a lot of detail and have an excuse to talk about a band I really like. So Silos is a very interesting record for me because I don't know if I would say it's one of the best or straight in the middle when it comes to it. So how I'd rank Starset is I always feel Horizons is going to be one of the weakest, and it is still. Horizons to me just kind of feels like the band's just kind of safest effort. It doesn't really go into the experimental factor, and when there is a good song, there really is a good song. But with just how many songs on there, if they just cut Horizons down to be as long as Divisions, I probably might even say Horizons should be higher on the ranking, but for where it is, it's my least favourite. Transmissions, yes, an amazing debut, but I feel like Starset almost every time have surpassed Transmissions quality, and that's a good sign. I really like Transmissions. And now it's pretty much up to Divisions or Silos, which ones I prefer. But I say Silos has more consistency I really like, and I feel like the songs, it has a lot more of like the top tier songs, and even has a better outro in my opinion, Divisions. So Divisions at number 3, despite Divisions having my favourite song of all time, Echo. Then we have Silos, which is number 2. I feel like Silos isn't quite Vessels level. Vessels is just one of my favourite albums of all time, and Silos I don't think even comes close to being that, but I really like this album a lot. It's a very intricate release where I still really love the collection of what we have here, but am I really going to go through every interlude to listen to this? Maybe not. I feel like when it comes to intro interludes, I just mainly go straight into the meat, but if I feel in the mood, I'd probably still play them. But this is a very weird Starset rollout. The AI music videos, a single every couple of months, and it was planned to be 2 EPs combined to one. Now we got an album. Apparently there's an album coming next year, but I don't know if that's 100% confirmed. It's just that one of the main writers for Starset, Sahaj from Ra, has pretty much said there will be an album in 2026, and it might return more into space. So, you know, that'll be really cool. I feel like this is a very good concept for a record, but at the same time, it's still hard to know how I feel. I don't know if it's recency bias, but I will give this one a 4 out of 5. There's so many good aspects to tracks like Silos, Dark Things, Brave New World, Ad Astra. Those are generally the highlights of this album, and they stand amongst some of the most monumental, beautiful Starset songs. But the downfalls of this album, I will say, has downsides. The lyrics are some of the weakest, like Toxic, Degenerate, Dark Things has even got some weaker lyrics, but the whole song I'd still say is one that I absolutely enjoy, so the lyrics being weak on that one isn't too bad. The covers do bring it down a bit, even though Shattered Dreams holds up quite nicely. I'd say that Head Over Heels is one of my least favourite listens. The interludes, I kind of wish we did have more songs, and I feel like if they want to do that, maybe give some of the new songs outros so we don't have this much, but at the same time, I still think it's a very fun album, and probably a top 10 album of the year contender. So that's all I have to say. Hope you enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next video.